Ciao friends, my name is Joee Balestrieri, and today I am working with this very sweet collection of beads from the Magical Mystery Bead Box of May 2025, and it is aptly named the Sweets Shop. I'm planning to do an entire set of jewelry, and I cannot tell you how excited I am about it. So we had in the box these 4 beautiful bead mixes, a pistachio mix, a strawberry mix, a lemon chiffon mix, and a wild berry pie mix, and I just love those. We also have this gorgeous fresh baked strand, which I need to cut open because I'm going to be using quite a bit from this strand. So we'll go ahead and cut that open. And I also have here this gorgeous chain that is called Buttercream, and this wonderful focal bead that's just so delicious. And there were these 2 metal earring findings, but I'm not going to use them as earrings. And so I'm going to start here. Let me move these guys out of the way, and let me get some little dishes in here. And I'm going to just dump each of the bead mixes into a little dish so that I can start creating from them. To be a jewelry set that uses basic jewelry making skills. So there'll be stringing and crimping and a little section of simple loops, and what else? Opening and closing a jump ring. I think it's pretty straightforward, but the beads are going to be the star of the show. So in my little pot here, I have a jump ring assortment and a lobster claw clasp. I have some white quartz 49 strand bead stringing wire. I have some number 2 crimp tubes off to the side, and I have a 3-inch head pin here to work on my focal with. So that's pretty much what you will need. And when we get to the earrings, I just took a pair of ear wires. You know, anything that you have in your stash can work. And I'm going to start, let's start by preparing the chain. So this chain is absolutely gorgeous, and it is ready to go with a lobster claw clasp and the jump ring. And you could literally just wear it as is, but I am going to come down here and cut this because I want to get a bracelet out of this as well. So I will have to lose some of the crystals from the chain when I modify it, but they're going to, you know, go into my stringing pattern. I can use them because the whole box was dotted with these, you know, whites. And like this actually looks like a cookie recipe that I have called coconut snowballs. And so, I mean, it just really is a sweet collection. So I'm going to just pull out of the camera for 1 second and measure this off exactly where I want to cut it to get my bracelet length. I'm going to snip right there. And so my necklace now has its clasp on, and it is ready to go. So I can actually even close this up, and I'm going to do a beaded section for this chain. So my necklace is ready to go, and I'm just going to take a lobster claw clasp and some jump rings and create the exact same closure for my bracelet that Jesse James Beads already put on the necklace. And so here's where I said I will have to lose a link because these little beaded sections, you know, they're just every other link. So I'm just going to snip. This chain is engineered in the most cool way, but when I cut a couple of the crystals, then I have a link to connect, and I have to do the same thing on this side, but that gives me these beautiful crystals to use in my stringing pattern. So to one end, I'm going to add a jump ring. And a lobster clasp. And then I will just add a larger jump ring to the other end, just like this. And my bracelet is ready. It's going to be a really simple bracelet because I absolutely love this chain. So I really just wanted this chain to be the star of the show. Look how beautiful it is as a bracelet. And I want to create a dangle for it with this donut bead and maybe some of the other beads. I just want to have like a single charm on this beautiful bracelet. So I'm going to go back to my pot of jump rings here and choose one and add that. So I am settled on this little stack, really just featuring this super sweet bead, and I am going to put a bend in my head pin wire and make a little loop here. Rotate my pliers. When I do my simple loops by hand, it almost looks as if I'm going to wrap it, and you could wrap it, but I'm just going to do a simple loop here and come right here and snip where my two wires meet. And a lot of times I add a jump ring to my charm for dangle, but I think on this one I'm just going to open it, and I'm going to put the whole thing, the loop, around the entire circumference of the chain, and that way this charm will go around 360 degrees. No matter which way I pick up the bracelet to put it on, it will move freely. You could attach it inside one of the links if you want to, but let me close this and I'll show you why I do it this way. Close that really well. And so my beautiful little dangle, and really you could put this anywhere on the chain. It would nestle nicely in between here, but let me get a hold of it. So when you do it that way, instead of going through a loop, your charm goes 360 degrees. So whether I pick my bracelet up this way or this way to put it on, it is always, you know, not stuck, and it flows around freely. So the beautiful little single charm bracelet is done. So sweet. I just love that. And I'm going to just set this aside now, and we're going to do the focal, prepare the focal for the necklace. So I did get a 3-inch head pin because my focal bead is pretty large, but I also want to do add some beads top and bottom so that the colors, the candy colors and the colors of the sweets are, you know, sort of all in the piece. So let's see. Let me do the same thing here. Just play in these mixes and create a little stack here. Okay, that is pretty. I just tried a few combinations, and I'm just dotting the pattern with the gold spacers and just putting a few of the colors in here. And then I'm going to do a simple loop again on this. So put a bend in this head pin, and same thing that I did before. Okay, and now to complete my focal, my pendant part of the necklace, I'm going to connect these earring findings just this way, just the way that they are with silver jump rings. So I'm going to need one for each side, and it will be ready to go into my stringing pattern once everything here is connected. So let's open up this jump ring. And it's going to go through this loop. So short side to longer side, so that it will hang as one piece instead of two pieces. Get that jump ring closed, and same thing on this side. Okay, look how gorgeous that is. This is so pretty, and it has a little bit of movement, and I didn't close and work hard in my loop because I'm going to open this and attach it right to the bottom loop and close it now and work hard in it and tidy up my loop a little bit. And so my pendant is ready for stringing. And now I am going to put the jump rings in here. I could string this right on this way. Let me see if I like it that way. Sometimes I'll do a jump ring, but sometimes I'll string right onto these loops. And what I'm looking at is the space that I would have here for my beads, and I actually think it's going to be okay if I flank this with the little beads that I cut from the chain when I created the bracelet. Just use these as a little spacer. Oh yeah, that is perfect. Okay, and I'm going to now string, but my idea for my necklace was to kind of have the beads in color blocked sections going up the necklace and just have them at random and kind of strung and looking the same way that the mixes looked in the box, because it was so delightful and sweet. The Magical Mystery Bead Box really is magical, and this is no exception. So as I have these in order the way that I want them to be strung. So I'm going to start on this side with yellow, and let me get a clamp. Since I started stringing from the middle, get a little clamp in here, and I'm going to just create a pattern with the yellow beads. Let me start with a smaller bead, and I'm just going to do color blocked sections, and I will mix up my gold and silver spacers. Mostly this is a silver piece, but I really like the way it's dotted with gold. Even these yellow beads have a little gold wash on them. It's really pretty. Okay, that's going to be my yellow section, and that's my plan, is to do about 5 beads. There are so many different shapes in the mixes that, you know, I may, depending on how it looks, I may change that as I go. But that is my yellow section, and I want to do a spacer bead when I change colors. So this yellow color block is, is done, and I'm going to use these they look like a cookie recipe. They look like coconut cookies. I'm going to use those when I change color. So now here I'm going to go to the purple colorway and do a little block of purple beads right here. I'm also going to cut this strand called 2 Scoop Sundae because it has so many beautiful spacers. And I even think that I might want this white flower as a spacer for this project. There's a little white flower bead cap in here, so that might make its way into my necklace. I am my stringing happy with my purple block of color. So I am going to switch to this side, change my clamp on this side, and create my other 2 blocks. So on this side of the pendant, I'm starting with pink. Look at this bead. This is so gorgeous. I love that that is going to be front and center on my piece. Okay, my pink block is now done, and I am going to put my bead in here that spaces. I do want a little bit of metal in between though. So let's see, I did silver over here, so I'm going to do gold on this side. My transition bead here. And my last color block is going to be the green. I love this barrel bead. It's a cat's eye barrel bead, so I'm going to start with that one. and choose my last 5 beads or so. So I'm going to finish off each side like this, and I'm going to crimp it, and I'll do the same thing on both sides, and then it's going to get added into my chain and the necklace is done. So I'm going to come right here with a number 2 crimp tube and bring that down, make a loop and go back down through the crimp tube, and then I'm pretty sure that my 49 strand wire will go through the crystal and the ceramic heart. They generally have kind of large holes. I have a rough end. Oh, there it goes. I have a little rough end on this wire where it was cut. I got it. So I'm just going to push this down and get a nice size loop here. Just pull, 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 pull. I'm not going to cover my loop because my chain is white and this white color is just perfect for that. And so I'm going to use my magical crimping plier, but you could use the Xuron or like a fold over crimp. And since the other side, I'm not worried about tension or anything since the other side is still open, but I'm just going to fit my number 2 crimp tube right in the well. There's only a single divot in this, and you really have to take your time. Like I just felt it settle right in the middle, and then you can close your tool and you've pinched the 4 corners of the tube, turning a tube into a square. And then you go in the opposite direction, and again, take your time and don't close down. I just felt it settle right into the middle. Now I can close the tool again and just maintain the position of your crimp tube in the pliers and just go around a few times, and you have just turned that tube into a little bead. And if you feel like it could use a little more shaping, like I just looked at it and I felt like I could go around a couple more times just to make it perfectly round, you know, you can fit it back in the tool and do that. And it's a really nice secure crimp, and it's really unobtrusive. It looks like a seed bead, so I love that. So I'm going to come under here and cut my wire, and this goes in my scrap bag because I love to make components out of that. And I'm going to come to this side and repeat the exact same thing. Okay, this is so exciting. We are ready to add this to the bottom of our chain. I just want to make sure that when I'm connecting that my chain is laying flat and smooth before I connect. Now for the fun part. I'm gonna add my jump ring to my loop and attach the jump ring to the chain where I've done the modification, and close that jump ring really well. And same thing on this side, keeping my chain nice and smooth. It's just simple connecting, but it's good to keep things straight so that when you're connecting, you're not connecting it in a twisted way, and then your piece won't hang right when you wear it. The links are small, but you can get it. Attach my heart. this piece is done. Oh my goodness, you guys. This is so, so, so pretty. This is stunning. It's sweet, but it's also colorful and like a little bit edgy, a little bit, I just love it. I love the way that it turned out. I love all the colors. I love this beautiful chain. It goes with my bracelet, but I am not done. I want to make a pair of earrings. The sample is already done, and this is what it looks like. I just wanted to represent each of the 4 color blocks in my necklace, and I did this really beautiful pair of earrings, and I'm going to show you. It's a simple connecting project. I'll show you what I decided. Let me move these beauties out of the way so you can see the earrings. I'm using 20 gauge wire, and I have an ear wire from my supply stash and one of the O beads or donut beads, and I made some 10 millimeter jump rings with my bail making pliers because that's what it took to get through the donut, and I'm going to put 2 of them on each. So I'm going to actually string 4 jump rings onto this donut bead. It looks a little strange at first, but it's really pretty when it's done. So I'm going to take 4 of these really large jump rings and just put them right on my donut. Okay, and I'm going to take a smaller jump ring now, and I'm going to gather up 2 jump rings at the top of the donut bead. So let 2 fall down to the bottom. The 2 that are, you can't hook one inside the other. Have I done that? No, I didn't. But you have to choose like the 2 that sit beside each other at the top. And let me get my fingers out of the way. So like that, you want to have 2 at the top and you want to have 2 hanging at the bottom. And it looks like I did twist those. I didn't mean to connect one inside the other, but it looks like that I did. So I'm going to open this smaller jump ring and I'll fix that. You want them strung onto the donut bead beside each other, not intertwined. And I'm going to hook both of these larger jump rings with this smaller one. Just gather them up and get them in there like that. And I'll go ahead and attach my ear wire because I find that's really helpful to keeping the orientation of this, and that's the top of the earring. So I'm going to go ahead and, while the jump ring is open, add that ear wire, and I'm going to work my way down. So I don't know if you can see, but I have hooked one ring inside the other, and I don't want that. So I'm going to want them beside each other. And I'm going to close that really well, and the top part of my earring is done, except I need to fix this. Make sure your jump rings are closed really well because you do see that. Whoops, wrong way. So that's the start, and then I used my 2 1/4 millimeter one-step looper. I tend to use this for really perfect consistent loops when I'm making earrings or beaded chains. It's a tool that I love. It really saves my hand. And then this second component is the yellow block, and I just did a little stack with a silver daisy spacer, a gold wagon wheel spacer, a frosted yellow bead, and then repeat. And I'm going to put a simple loop, as you might have guessed, in this end. Okay, and now I'm going to open this loop and do the same thing with those bottom 2 jump rings that I did with the small jump ring. I'm just going to put them both through that loop, gather them up, corral them in, and close that really well. I don't want my jump rings to escape. There we go. And the second drop is done. And the next one is another piece of my 20 gauge wire. Start with a simple loop at one end. And on this one, I did a purple teardrop. Started with a gold. Nope, I started with a silver. I am so dyslexic, and sometimes it really causes me problems when I'm trying to duplicate a pattern. Silver, gold, and a purple teardrop for this one, and another simple loop. And now I'm going to open this one and attach it to the bottom of the last one. Close it really well. And then for the very last drop, it is one of those little crystals that has a hole at the top. But on this one, in order for the orientation to be right, I had to use the larger jump ring to go through the hole in the crystal. And then I had to put a smaller one at the top. And even though these are really dangly and they spin around, let me close this and I'll show you what I mean. I wanted this to be facing this way at the bottom of the earring. So again, I want to connect things properly and so that they are not twisted when I connect. And then when it's being worn, you know, it can spin around and dangle, but the connection is good. Sorry about all the tools in the way. And so I'm going to gather up this last piece and come to the front of my little earring and attach that right on the bottom. So beautiful. Look at that, you guys. So you see how I did pay attention to the orientation all the way down this earring. Even though it's a really dangly one, I have I look at it as perpendicular to my mat and parallel to my mat. And so like I wanted this donut bead to be facing forward. These are 360. It doesn't matter which way they spin, but I also wanted my crystal little lentil drop to be facing forward. So I just added a jump ring where necessary to make it hang right. And this entire jewelry set is done. It is so sweet and so beautiful. It's colorful and really fun and quite a statement, but not crazy. Like I really love it. I'm crazy about the pendant, and this box was truly magical and so much to work with. So, you know, I have a ton of beads left over and I have a beautiful full jewelry set here that really is sweet. I hope you're all safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, friends.